So I think it's important not to run an organization based on hierarchy.
Yeah, that's right.
I think it's important because if you look at the 21st century worker, the 21st century worker is based on a knowledge economy, correct?
Yes.
We're no longer in the manufacturing age, and God forbid, we're no longer in the agricultural age, right? So in the earlier stage of the civilization of humankind, tends to be more hierarchical. Knowledge tends to concentrate at the top, and the guys in the middle layer and the bottom layer tends to just take orders. I believe that in a knowledge economy, everyone should have a voice. In fact, internet, like we're an internet company, right?
Yeah.
So we have to practice the culture of internet, right?
Yes.
The culture of internet is that of participation, correct? Every time you use the internet, you are participating. Every time you go to Facebook, you create a blog entry, you're participating in the creation of knowledge. So within our company, we also have the same core belief, is that everyone has a voice. So it's less about how many hierarchies we have. In fact, we run a very flat organization. So I have access to all the staff, and they have access to me as well. And the same thing goes for our entire management team. We are, like I said, very bidirectional. We provide our voices, but at the same time, we solicit voices back from our staff. And in so doing, we can crowdsource the best idea. Again, that's how internet works, right? We crowdsource the best idea, and then once we decide on a direction, then everyone unite together to the execution to ensure that it's done the best. And I think that's how we get done in YTL Communications.
So,
Listening and then follow through and take concrete actions. So that's a very simple answer to that. But how to get it done is very hard. But the answer is very simple. Answer is that a leader must always be easy to follow. Right? Correct? But having said that, being easy to follow takes a lot of work.
Yeah.
Right? So I think you all understand the concept of being easy to follow. Right? But in actuality, being easy to follow requires a lot of work. Right? Because as far as I'm concerned, as a leader, I must make sure that for a complex concept, I must net it out to the essential details. And making sure that based on the group that I talk to, for instance, if I'm talking to customer service, if I'm talking to the technical department, if I'm talking to the product department or the financial department, I must translate the vision and the objective into language they understand, so that they all do their piece. And in totality, we get the entire project completed. You see what I mean? So being easy to follow is easy to say, but it's hard to do. Because the fine art of being easy to follow is that I must understand the respective functional area and be able to translate a big piece of activity into small chunks corresponding to the needs and wants of that organization in such a way that they can understand, to the extent they follow on that part and the other department follow on their part, and in combination a grand mission can be accomplished.
So each department doing their own part, focus on their own part, and then we combine all the idea to...
Yeah, as the leader of the organization, my job is to ensure that each organization is productive. But we must move towards the same direction. Right? Just like you go to a boating event, a rolling event. Imagine that everyone paddling at different pace. Will the boat go anywhere? It won't go anywhere. If everyone were to paddle at the same pace, the same rhythm, then the boat go very, very fast. So my job is to make sure that everyone paddle at the same rhythm. But in order for that to happen, everyone's different. I must make sure that I gave them the same a set of instruction that makes sense to respective to that function. So in combination, then the whole boat can move very, very fast because we're in rhythm. So being easy to follow is hard to do.
Yeah.
And most leaders fail at being easy to follow. So what separates a good leader to a not so good leader is whether, like I said, he has been able to digest the concept and make it easy to follow for each different organization and departments. Number one, I think it's important for leaders to reach out. One thing that I noticed that Malaysians are more shy, at least compared to the American colleagues that I used to work with for the last numerous years. American colleagues, you don't have to wait; they will just come, go after you and raise questions for you. But Malaysian folks are more shy.
Yeah.
So we have a large group gathering. Towards the end, you say, "Who has got a question?" Chances are no one will raise their hand.
Yeah.
So I think we have to adopt our style to the culture. The culture in Malaysia is more of a more personal type culture, correct? Or smaller group type format.
Yeah.
So we tend to have smaller group gatherings. So what I do is that I would go to different parts of the office and I will try to drop in. Not something that I'll plan for, because throughout my day I'll talk to different people. And in the process of talking to them, I'll just find out from them how they're doing and what else we can do as a company to help the company move further. So I think my job, as well as any senior leader's job in our company, is to use every day, throughout the day, to find opportunities to interface and solicit as much feedback as possible, so that collectively we get more voices, more feedback, and then as a leadership team we should compare our feedback, compare notes, and figure out how to take action. So on a weekly basis, I have a head of department meeting whereby I meet with all the head of department, and then we sit on this table and we share information that we've gathered from the team, any insight we've heard from the team, and we try to action upon it. So that's one way, personal interaction. We also have a company intranet. So within the company intranet, we also use it as a vehicle. So I will share my insights with the company using the intranet, and we also have an opportunity for people to provide feedback online as well. And last but not least, because we run an internet company, everything's online anyways, so I use email extensively, and I oftentimes get access to people's feedback through email. So in between talking to staff, using our intranet, and people just sending us email, and I will go out and reach out and follow up with those emails, then we get plenty of opportunity to get feedback from our staff. The question then is, see, getting feedback is the easy part. If you sit down with someone for a long enough time, you'll get some feedback. The question is that, again, what's the action you take? I believe in an action-driven culture. So what it means is that we must ask ourselves, what action are we taking for the company to move the level forward? And I think that's the key. Getting feedback is one thing, but taking the insight from the feedback and taking the action is what matters.
When you are leading.
Yeah, I think the problem I faced at that time, looking back, is about self-confidence. Self-confidence. So yes, I'm quite proud and pleased the fact that I was given such a recognition so early on in my life. And I believe that I was given that recognition because of my hard work. But I must convince myself that I should be able to command the respect from my staff. Because as you rightfully pointed out, when you have a person in a leadership position in age 29, chances are you're leading someone much older than you.
Yeah.
And I have, in my team at that time, I had at least, I could think of maybe 30% of the people in the team, 30% of the people in the team are older than me. By sometimes over a decade older than me, or sometimes a decade and a half older than me. So I must command their respect. So my biggest personal fear, when I first got the opportunity, I was both joyful and also fearful. Fearful about the fact that how do I command the respect of my team? Luckily, I talked to my boss, who was also my mentor at the time. And he said that, number one, you must have confidence in yourself. And you must reflect back, why do I get this position? Do I get this position because I am lucky, or because I got this position because I know my stuff? Of course, in my case, I wasn't lucky. I know my stuff. So have confidence. Look back in all the accomplishments that you've made and have the confidence that you can go forward. Because of the past accomplishment, I have the foundation to go forward. And lead the team with that confidence. Now, he also encouraged me that age is not as much a factor as much as what you do every day.
Yeah.
So oftentimes, you go to work, and I think we can all relate to that. Just because someone is older, with all due respect to them, doesn't mean that they do better work. with all due respect to them. Sometimes they do all fantastic work. Sometimes not everyone can be assured that just because he's older, he always do better work. It's not guaranteed. So if we can go to work every day and do our best, so that we have no regrets, that's what that matters. Because in the process of doing your best, then you have created value. When you have created value, people will give you recognition for it.